Welcome back to the second half. Look at that poor, poor white.
So, interestingly enough, we didn't have any KOs to wake up, and none of his woke up. That makes it sad. And now let's
Yep.
see what the sun did. Well, the sun's gone away, but its effects are lingering. And in this case, it is taking us down to 8. We're now playing Blood Bowl 8s.
Yep. We'll get some nice panning camera shots here, but you can see he has lost two vampires to the
That's
sun,
awful.
in addition
Well,
to the one that he had.
That is absolutely fitting. I would think that
Yep.
vampires would not do great after an entire half in the sun. But we lost 3 dudes, including both of our ghouls.
We lost one of our greatest stars, our greatest star pupils.
It's okay. Santos is tired of kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs a sun break.
So let's just go punch thralls.
So yeah, we are now playing Blood Bowl Light. Two vamps Blood Bowl, which is arguably good for him because
He'll
that means he
roll
doesn't
less
have to.
bloodlust.
Yeah, he
he'll-
doesn't have to waste all those rerolls on.
He'll have
Bloodlust.
more rerolls for when the rest of his team comes back.
However, it's very, very good for me because it means less opportunity for bullshit to happen, making this maybe a boring game, but definitely a much easier game for me to sort of slowly cage up, move down the field, and secure the win.
And one thing I would like to note is that despite sitting in the KO box, the players that are out due to the sun are not actually KO'd. They don't have to roll to get up. They will just
Yep.
automatically return. That's why they sit there with like the stunned thing instead of the little KO bell.
Yep, just a small bout of the vapors, but they'll be fine. Now here I decide that McGruff is better suited not carrying the ball with his ridiculous speed, but instead being a block player. And it also, because I'm playing vampires and because I'm playing against 8 players and only 2 normal vampires, I decide this is as good of an opportunity as any for Wolf Blitzer to start earning those star player points, so he can start getting skills and being good and doing stuff.
Also note that we have kind of a loose cage because you cannot make you can't really make a tight cage with 8 players, and 2, you can't make a tight cage against vampires because of Hypnotic Gaze.
Yep.
Speaking of Hypnotic Gaze, I don't know why he doesn't do it, like, right now.
Uh,
Like, seriously, just gaze Dr. White and then walk in there with fucking anyone.
That's a good. I'm not sure. I also sort of forgot about Hypnotic Gaze, despite the fact that I've played way too many vampire matches, which means like 5 or so. I'm not really sure why. Like you should really be hypnotic gazing every turn.
Actually,
You're playing
one of the things I
vampires.
will note is that the way that you set up your players was that Hypnotic Gaze, there was no easy access, even if you gazed a player. Like,
That's
if
true.
Bone Cruncher McGraw got gazed, Beef Slab and, who's our other? Probably Riffraff, yeah. Beef Slab and Riffraff were still covering, so you didn't have to worry about Hypnotic Gaze creating easy access lanes, and that's an
Yep.
important thing to note about vampires and dealing with them and playing defensively against them, is that even if you get Hypnotic Gazed, that player is still blocking the path, so if you do kind of that 5 square cage, gazing any one player does not create any openings.
Yeah, it just sort of makes life annoying.
I
Now
don't
the
know what
fact
you're doing.
the fact that he moved both of his vampires like either straight on to Wolf Blitzer or off to the right, sort of dictates to me that I must now move the ball left. And so that's what we're gonna do. Is we're basically just gonna sort of wheel this giant mass of players around to the left side
This
and
is-
see what I can make of it.
Can't see any reason why your formation is that way.
Because it's interesting looking, really.
McGruff should
I
have
think
run farther up.
it's like I don't know. It's like some weird symmetry thing. I didn't really want to put McGruff in a position for him to just get massacred. Because it seems like every time I put McGruff in a position to get punched, he gets cast, and that's
no,
not
he
that's
doesn't.
no
He
good.
hasn't gotten cast.
Well, I don't know. It's like
Everyone
it's-
else dies. McGruff is a-okay. McGruff and
Just-
Santos are fine.
I'm tired of all the bloodshed.
So instead, he's just gonna do that.
Yes.
So
And
that's
that was
what
my
happens.
plan. My secret plan was to make him fail rolls. Haha.
Yes, it was amazing.
And
So
now it's time to
that's the
sprint
worst
away.
part is that he had to re-roll the bloodlust.
Mhm.
And that's the thing about vampires is that they can do crazy things, but everything they do is just that little bit more inconsistent.
Yep.
And because he failed the Bloodlust, he couldn't re-roll a simple going for it. And thus he fell over.
And most of the times it might be like what you might say, like, well, if I have thralls in place, if I have thralls in the right place, then theoretically that's not a problem.
It's still
Well,
a problem.
It's still a problem because it's not just a matter of good positioning, which, I mean, certainly being good at vampires or having good vampire matches, positioning is really useful. But it's like, I mean, you at some point you'll just run out of thralls. That's just how it works. That's how it works.
And especially like the reason that you see Bloodlust getting re-rolled so often is because vampires just simply cannot afford to run out of thralls, because there are those moments where you run out of re-rolls and then you roll Bloodlust, and if you're out of thralls too, that's just a turnover.
Yep.
That's it.
It's really a lose-lose situation, because either you lose thralls or you lose rerolls.
And the less thralls you have, the more your field position is restricted, because you always have to consider the fact that rolling a 1 could just end your turn or force you to move in a way that you didn't want to move.
Yep.
Because now you have to end your turn next to one of your thralls.
Now, at this point, I'm pretty comfortable with where Wolf Blitzer is. There's almost no fucking conceivable way that Wolf Blitzer could even get stood next to. So, like, we're scoring for sure.
That's absolutely how that works. The only way that someone could stand next to him is if Garrick... no, because he was down on the ground. Yeah,
Yep.
you couldn't... It couldn't possibly happen except with one of those, like, amazing cyanide YOLO dodges where you just, like, click one player and click a place and pray.
And you just roll 6s all the way through the enemy.
I would like to note that there are a lot of games where you should absolutely try that, especially with cheap linemen, because if you can pull off hilarious shit, awesome. If you fall over and die, you lost a lineman.
It's also fun to do, frankly.
It is extremely fun to do, and it makes people that you don't like extremely mad.
Now, the Grey Hunter is going to choose to pretty aggressively push on my ball carrier, basically telling me I have to score this turn. Which, I mean, that's what I was going to do anyway. In a normal, maybe like a tournament type situation, if I wanted to absolutely guarantee the victory, I would just sort of dance Wolf Blitzer around and try to keep him out of vampire range for a long time. But that's boring.
Yeah, and also, if this were a tournament situation, we absolutely would want to extend this drive for as long as possible,
yes,
because it is our best chance. Him being low on vampires just sucks. Okay, so all our tired dudes get up, and only one of his KOs gets up.
And I believe he still has a KO'd vampire.
Yes, which is not great. And we get an extra reroll from cheering fans, and once again, cheerleaders don't matter.
But a very, very bad thing happens, which is where we get the max scatter. I guess I wasn't perfect in my central clicking, and the ball scatters out of bounds and is now in the hands of a strength 4, agility 4 player who's pretty well poised to run around to the side.
I would also like to note that I would refer to that defense as here is where you're going to run around me and then score, because it is almost completely worthless.
It is very useful at protecting the players in the back that I don't want to get punched. And if he scores now, who cares?
We're up 2-0 and we get the ball back. I mean, this is probably one of those, like, hyper bunker, I don't want to give up, but I don't want you to punch any of my important players kind of defenses. And
but
look at this fucker.
He's going to say fuck that, and he's going to get right up in my wheelhouse.
Look at this asshole.
Without even having the common decency to follow up and take his lumps. What a guy.
That's rude. You should blitz the fuck out of him. Screw the ball carrier. Just go punch him.
No, in fact, I'm gonna. That's the way you want to play, good sir. Well, I'm taking the gloves off, and I'm coming for your ball carrier.
Please tell me you are... See, I would have just gang-fouled Count Fancy Pants. I would have gone, if you're going to do that, I'm going to murder that player. And I'd also, like, ceremonially stand some dude next to the ball just in case I want to, like, pretend that I'm going to stop him.
Yep.
But really, I'd just gang-foul the fuck out of a vampire, because vampires deserve to be death.
And I mean, if I can't stop this vampire or, get in his way enough, like, if he can from where he is basically run in a dead sprint and score this very next turn. So I can either choose to go after that son of a bitch who tried to touch McGruff, or I can listen to my heart and I can Santos Van Hammerstein. He's telling me through my computer monitor that he wants blood.
But he's like way on the other side.
Yeah, but he's also super fast and he's awesome.
That's true. Ghouls are pretty fast. That's one thing that's probably my favorite thing about Necromantic is that they are a team that has a number. They are very versatile just because of the differentiation between their positionals.
Yep.
They have flesh golems who are super sturdy, super immobile, strength 4 pylons that just say, I'm standing here, you either have to go around me or through me. And through me is pretty hard. You've got wights, which are pretty much stock standard blitzers. You've got ghouls, which have movement 3 and agility access, and dodge, all of which are very cool. And then you have werewolves, which are possibly the best positional in the game. They're absolutely a top 5.
Yes.
They're so good. So good.
So just give me a second, Santos. Let me prepare the killing field.
Oh man, Santos Van Hammerstein is going for it.
He's going right in there.
I would have been tempted to dodge rather than GFI, but I don't know.
That's a fair point. I do have 4 rerolls though.
Oh
Holy
man.
shit.
Oh Bibbles. So
That
he
is my
definitely
boy.
just punched the hell out of a vampire.
You'll also you probably heard I don't know how familiar you guys are with the regen noise. The noise that happens when a player has regen. Well, vampires do indeed have the regeneration skill. So
I believe they're one of the few players in the game that can have access to both regen and
an apothecary.
yeah, the only other ones
Yep.
being trolls.
Khorne Bloodthirsters.
Oh, Khorne Bloodthirster has regen too.
Yes.
That is nasty. But
Yeah, that's. I don't want to think about the Khorne Bloodthirster anymore. I wake
you're
up at night
scarred
with
from last game.
I wake up with cold chills. Thinking
And then
about
we
the
just
Khorne
threw a
Bloodthirster.
vanity 1db. For
Which
no
I
reason.
foolishly forgot to reroll because I'm so used to just taking the value.
We
1db.
actually cannot spend all of our rerolls anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, so that was a free reroll that we just didn't use.
Yeah.
And that's actually not great, because we're freeing his players up to go run near the ball.
And what he's going to try to do is push Santos onto the ball and just hope for the best.
Pretty much his only option, and he gets the best. That is the best possible scatter.
That is a great scatter because it's not a trivial task to push Santos away, but it's certainly much easier to get to that ball without tackle zones on it and pick it back up. I do have a pretty nice line, nice defensive line here, but
It
and
also
again,
happens to be in a place where he can put a bunch of players on it, and we can't really.
I mean, but let's not forget about the context here. Like, I'm up 2-0. At this point, I'm basically playing for the honor of, can I stop vampires from scoring on me? Like, that's what we're playing for at this point. And I guess to not dying.
We've already won, now we're just salting the earth.
Yes.
We're saying, not only am I going to win, but I'm going to disallow you from getting touchdown SPP because I don't like you.
After shamefully losing to dwarfs and shamefully not beating a couple
There
teams,
is no shame in losing to short Hitlers.
Yeah, I guess.
Especially at like 1300 TV. It's what they do. They dominate low TV games because they're total assholes.
It still made me sad. So,
Watching that game made me sad.
yeah.
Remembering that game makes me sad. We're not going to talk about that anymore.
Let's pretend that game didn't happen. Yeah, let's pretend that game didn't happen.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Well, we're okay.
So we have, unfortunately, we don't have very great sort of blitzing wolf punch synergy here. Nobody's in a great spot to be able to offer that pair of wolf frenzy follow-up 2DBs with the assists and with how all our players are set up. We can theoretically get to that ball carrier and punch him, but it's going to require some fortuitous rolls for sure.
Or just a 1DB.
Or
This field is a cluster. Actually, no, it's a -2 because that's held by a vampire.
Yep, we're gonna make this. We're gonna make this happen though.
This field is a clusterfuck. Also, I love the backflip that happens when werewolves punch stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, werewolves are metal as hell.
Following this roll up, we will get a 2DB. Unfortunately, we'll never get to taste that, and in fact...
Oh man. Now can we go back to the dwarf
game? No.
Okay, so that is a niggling injury on Wolf Blitzer.
I need to stop doing things, I think.
Please stop
every time I do stuff, someone dies.
What the hell was the point of that anyway?
The point of that was to clear him out of the way to
that was
punch
stupid.
another guy.
There's no situation in which that wasn't stupid.
Yeah, I just like punching guys, though.
It was a 1DB and a 1DB with no block.
It would have been a 2DB. I would have been following up into McGruff and Dr. White assisting.
Whatever, it's still stupid.
Yes, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I wanted to do it, and that's the price that you pay sometimes.
Yes, don't do what this guy's doing, just don't.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, like that was basically just a miss next game, because I know you guys aren't going to get rid of Wolf Blitzer.
It's not only a miss next game, it's a miss next game and a bunch of games in the future from when he gets injured randomly, because niggling injuries are bullshit.
He's never going to get hurt again. He's the greatest.
Meanwhile, that happened. And then that happened.
Yes, was that because he had to use a reroll earlier in the turn because of Bloodlust?
Yes, it was.
Wasn't even paying attention. I was busy thinking about like sad things.
And now we have plenty more sad things because our ghoul didn't even get a chance to regenerate that one. Now we have a Gimpy Ghoul. And
that is much worse than a niggled werewolf.
An injured level 1 ghoul is absolutely a fireable offense because if you, especially minus movement, because there is no reason to have a ghoul if it's not playing the 7 movement dodge game. And additionally, they're only 70k. So after we rebuy our flesh golem, it's not long until we'll be able to rebuy the ghoul.
Yeah, unfortunately, the problem is we are perpetually broke.
Welcome to playing Necromantic.
We're constantly in a state of rebuying dead guys.
Well, positionals just tend to rub up against people.
Now, I immediately after that happened, I've basically already forgotten about the fact that I just lost a ghoul because I see an opportunity to score.
This is ridiculous, by the way. 9 movement players are disgusting.
Because I am stupid fast and I have 2 turns, and 9 movement means that, like, base, I'm covering ground.
This is what we refer to as total horse shit. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I've also got the rerolls, so we get the 1/2 on the block, which normally would make me sad, but it's good enough.
It's good enough. We don't need anything fancy. We just need working.
Good enough for government work. I'm considering where I want to put the guy, and every single time you try to move your players near to the ball, Cyanide just sort of locks your pathing straight onto that ball because it knows that you always want to pick up the ball as soon as possible.
Why would anyone not want to move onto the ball?
So definitely look out for that if you're playing, if you're just sort of starting up, and you're trying to do complex pro level stuff like I'm showing off.
I'd like to note that that's also Cyanide specific. Fumble tends to be actually pretty friendly about not pathing you on the ball unless you explicitly do it. It will actively avoid it, yeah. But apparently our buddies over at Cyanide were not quite good enough to make that happen. Meanwhile, look at McGruff taking off. He's just rocking it.
So now here again, I am using the fact that I can use that reroll next turn, that team reroll in case I need it, and I'm just going to go ahead and park out right where I am here.
Unfortunately, we can't use both of our... Look at that. He's like, hey, you should dodge. If you want to get over there, you could definitely make it, but you'll have to dodge. But you want to dodge, don't you?
No, I don't.
Are you sure? You could dodge.
I don't think I want to dodge.
Dodging is cool.
I just think I want to punch this. I think I want to punch this vampire.
Is it a vampire? It's a thrall.
Oh, sorry.
He's not nearly fancy enough to be a vampire.
I want to punch this dumb guy and not let him screw up my 3-0 victory over the dreaded vampires.
Yeah, note that vampires either go ham and do everything, or this happens and they just do nothing.
Yeah, it's funny that you said vampires either it's 4-0 or 0-4. This is one of the cases where it was 4-0.
Just us running them over, yeah. And
Actually,
I mean,
it was only
that's
3-0, but
what vampires do. They're wildly inconsistent, but if they roll all the right dice...
Mhm.
See, Santos Van Hammerstein will never fail us.
Nope.
He's the man.
He has already dodge and block. He has cemented himself as the best.
Yes, and that's the thing. A Blodger with 7 movement for 90k is amazing. Considering that in order to get something equivalent, you have to have something like a plus movement Amazon Blitzer or a block Elf Blitzer, and those are both super expensive.
And I mean, if you give him even more great skills like diving catch, oh, your value is just shooting through the roof.
Diving catch, not so much. But if you get stuff like Stand Firm or... Oh, not Stand Firm. That would be awesome.
Sidestep.
Stand Firm Ghoul.
I don't even know if I'd want that.
I would absolutely want that. No, but Sidestep, Shadowing's pretty nice because they are 7 movement.
Yep.
Fuck, what else do they get?
I don't know, just a bunch of cool stuff. Maybe diving tackle if you're an asshole.
If you want to be a Supreme ass, reroll it.
I'm really tempted to,
Reroll
but
it.
I would like that reroll for my 3+ dodge. So
You bitch.
You'll note that he has me marked with 2 players, which means I can't blitz either of them away. So we're just gonna go ahead and score. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, let's just score.
We're just gonna make that dodge. So this was I think you would agree in saying that this was definitely Werewolves the game. Like last match, I was really sort of thinking about how can I show off the fact that werewolves are super cool, and like the fact is, it just sort of happens naturally. It's like, hey, do you want a guy who has claws and 8 and 9 movement? Like, here you go.
Pitch invasion. This is the first time you've seen a pitch invasion. You roll fame, and then a bunch of players fall over.
Yep.
Presumably the person with less fame has more players fall over, but sometimes in situations like this, it kind of washes out. To be more specific, you roll like d6 plus fame for every player, and roll a 3+, and if it's like 3+, then the player stands up, and if it's like a 2 or less, then it gets knocked over. Either way, it's kind of arcane, and
Yep.
I imagine in the real thing, this is where you have like 12 dice.
Yeah, if you're playing tabletop, you have to spend like 10 minutes like, okay, does this player get knocked down? And so like when I'm playing Cyanide, I just like I see pitch invasion, I'm like, okay, some number of players are falling down. I don't really care how
You
the
can
rolls
look on
happen.
the rolls, and it's like a page and a half of rolls. It's
I
ridiculous.
actively could not care less.
And now he bloodlusts, which is wonderful. Completely irrelevant, and he did get the vanity pass.
So that's nice for him. No, it's nice for us is the 3-0 victory.
Yes, lots of SPP, but I don't believe enough for a level, unless we get an MVP. Which
We
of course
roll a
will.
1 for the winnings, and then we roll another 1 for the winnings. So not
That's
a lot
not
of
great.
winnings.
And-
Unfortunately, this piece of shit, Frankencastle, the worst player.
Dude, he's
on
the
this
most
team.
valuable player. The audience agreed.
And
He
look
is
what this
absolutely the most valuable
Look
player.
what this piece of garbage rolls. He steals a plus movement from a player who could actually need it. So he gets a 6/4 that's generals or one of the skill ups. So make sure you give him the worst skill possible. Anything else would be an affront to good play. And we'll see you guys next time.